So good day guys, at this time I will continue the topic about Excreta drainage system covering sections 706 to 710. And this includes section 706 are the cleanouts, section 707 is the grade of horizontal excreta drainage type, Section 708 gravity drainage required. Section 709 drainage of fixtures located below the upstream manhole or below the sewer. And Section 710 is the suds relief. Section 706 is the clean out. So what is a clean out? A plumbing clean out provides a convenient place to access buildings' drain, pipes, to clear clogs and debris. It consists of the main body and a threaded cap. A clean out may be inside a building or outdoors. A clean out that is outside the building should have a cap visible within a few feet of the building's foundation. So usually these clean outs are installed during the construction of the building, and a clean out may be easily accessible in buildings that have a crawl space or a basement. So here is an example of clean out. They have a removable cap, and to have an easy access if there is a clog, the body is usually the same diameter as the drain pipe. So under the clean outs is the 706.1. Each horizontal drainage pipe shall be provided with a clean out at its upper terminal, and each run of piping which is more than 15 meters in total developed length shall be provided with a clean out at every 15-meter length or a fraction. So under section 706 is the subsection. This code implies that every horizontal pipeline has its terminal point, and you are required to put a clean out on that terminal point. And according to the table, this table 7 is to 4, this code applies to those pipes with the sizes given. When you are to choose those sizes, you may want to follow this code, or else your plumbing project will not pass the inspection process. For example, this size of pipe is the 38 millimeters, so the size clean out should be also 38 millimeters, and the threads per 25.4 millimeters is the 11 is to 1 half spacing, and so on. But there are also exceptions. Um, Under that is the 706.1.1, which states that cleanouts may be omitted on a horizontal drain line less than 1.5 meter in length unless such line is serving sinks or urinals. So this is an example of the explanation under the subsection. Cleanouts that are not needed to the pipe only is 1.5 meters, and cleanouts are not only needed for the drain lines that has a ratio of 1 is to 15. But you can also find other cleanouts under the kitchen sinks. And another example is the comfort room or bathroom. Sometimes it's visible, but other houses are putting it under the tile. It is usually beside the shower drain. Another one is cleanouts may be omitted on short horizontal drainage pipe installed at a slope of 72 degrees or less from the vertical line or an angle of 1/5 bend. So um, this pipe is an example of a 72-degree plumbing pipe. So why you can put a clean out on it? So obviously it is a short pipe, and instead of putting on it, you may want to put an extension at the end, and you can put the clean out at the end of the extension. So putting a clean out on this is too risky to work on because as you can see it's not a perfect fit, and it may cause leakage. So another exception from the 15-meter rule is um, an approved type of two-way clean-out fitting installed inside the building wall near the connection between the building drain and the building sewer, or installed outside of a building at the lower end of the building drain and extended to the grade may be substituted for an upper terminal cleanout. So, we have read on the code 706.1 we may have a terminal point, but it can be considered that we may not put a clean out on the terminal point, but instead we can have a two-way clean out at the middle point or location where we can properly put it. So instead of putting one clean out per terminal, we can use this so we can minimize it by this type of clean out and we can save the cost of materials. So under um, clean outs pa rin is the 706.2. An additional clean out shall be provided on angle horizontal line with an aggregate offset angle of direction exceeding 135 degrees. So here is an example of a pipe that has an aggregate offset angle direction. As you can see that the green line is the diagonal offset. Now if that exceeds from 100 to 135 degrees, then you may add a clean out on its horizontal axis. So basically, these clean outs will make it more easier to clean the system if there is a clog on that portion instead of accessing it at the terminal point. Next is each clean out shall be installed so it opens in the direction of flow to allow cleaning of soil or waste line or at the right angles there to end, except in case of Y branch and end of line clean outs shall be installed vertically above the flow line of pipe. So the meaning of this is a clean out will be installed at a location of lower grades or the locations with a good flow. Why? So that the dirt or anything that is solid will come through downstream and we can manage to clean it out accessibly. And aside from this, we can put a clean out outside a backup to avoid greater damage when your clean out inside is not working. So another one is each clean out extension shall be considered as a drainage piping of each 90 degrees. Cleaning out extension shall be extended from a Y um, type of fitting or other approved fitting of equivalent sweep. So, well, technically, each clean out of extension may also work as a drainage piping. So, if clean outs are usually placed at the connection of sewer lines and the drain lines that changes at direction at 90 degrees. So, it is designed to help the clear pipe that could cause the stoppage of flow. Um, Another subsection of clean outs is 706.5 says that each clean out for an interceptor shall be outside of interceptor. So to explain further, each clean out of every interceptor will be located outside of it. Example is this one on the image is a grease interceptor. So these are usually located at the back of the kitchen sink or beside the septic tank. When you wash these dishes, the grease will not eventually flow because it will damage our sewer system. But there's a storage under the ground where you can put it when the damage is already worst. So many people are cleaning it by removing the grease and the others are putting chemicals to dissolve it, then it will be safe to go into the sewer pipes. Next is each clean out unless installed under an approved cover plate shall be above grade, readily accessible. So, located to serve the purpose it is intended. Clean outs located under cover plates shall be installed to provide the clearances and accessibility required by this section. Excuse me. So, as explained earlier, other clean outs are visible and some are not. Yes. So, next, each clean out in piping 51 millimeter or less in size shall not be installed so that there is a clearance of not less than 305 millimeters in front of the clean out. Clean outs in piping larger than 51 millimeters shall have a clearance of not less than 0.5 0.45 meters rather in front of the cleanout. Cleanouts in the underflooring piping shall be extended to or above the finished floor or shall be extended outside the building. So when there is less than 0.45 meter vertical and 0.75 meter horizontal clearance from the means of access to such clean out, no underfloor clean out in any residential occupancy shall be located more than 6.1 meters from an access door, trap door, or crawl hole. So yes, the main objective of a clean out will always be an accessibility to clean our pipes easily. So because of plumbing pipes in majority is under the floor and we don't want to ruin the good view if there are plumbing fixtures that are visible. Next, clean out fitting shall be not less than in the size than those given in table is to 6. So here are the required clean out fittings to be installed according to the code. So for example, in item number 1, the size of the pipe would be 38 millimeters. So the size of the clean out is also 38 millimeters with a thread per 25 point millimeter into 11 is to 1 half. So that's it. Then next, 706.9 states that clean out shall be provided for pressure drainage system. So example of a pressurized drainage system are the septic tanks. Imagine if you will not put a clean out on it and you know that it needs to be cleaned, the only access to this chamber is your toilet bowl's hole and you may not want to remove it every time you clean it. So 706.10 are the countersunks. So countersunk cleanouts plugs shall be installed when raised heads cause hazard to passing personnel or vehicles. So this is an example of a countersunk cleanout. So for example, there is a scenario in your clean out that is near the road, and the government wants to build a project like bicycle lanes or walking lanes, and your clean out is affected by these projects. So to avoid accidents, countersunk or clean out plug shall be installed like this. So that's it. So last at the clean out section, when a hubless blind plug is used for a required clean out, the complete coupling and plug shall be accessible for removal of replacement. So this is an example of a hubless plug and you can remove it by tools and some clean outs are required to this kind of cup so that it will not be opened from time to time by anyone. So that's it. Moving on to section 707, grade of horizontal excreta, drainage type. So under this, I know I will explain first the definition of a grade. So what is a grade? A grade is the slope or fall of pipe in reference to our horizontal plane. It In drainage, it is usually expressed as the fall in millimeter per meter length of pipe. So, um, the horizontal drainage piping shall be run in practical alignment and at a uniform slope of not less than 2% or 20 millimeters per meter towards the point of disposal, provided that where it is impractical due to the depth of the street sewer or to adverse structural features or to some irregular arrangements of affected building of structure to obtain a slope of 2% or any such pipe or piping 102 millimeters or larger in diameter may have a slope of not less than 1% or 10 millimeters per meter when first approved by the administrative authority. So next section is section 708, the gravity drainage required. So It says that where practicable, all plumbing fixtures shall be drained into the public sewer or private sewage disposal system by the gravity. So gravity will always be given, but the position pipes is the problems. So in order to get expected, gravity is required. Position of the pipes where the slope is gravity oriented. So next is the section 709. It is the drainage fixtures. I'm sorry, that is a fixtures located below the upstream manhole or below the main sewer. So apparently, there are cases where on a resident, their fixtures are located just below the upstream manholes or below a main sewer. So there are also codes we need to follow in order for us to have an organized way of plumbing system. So first subsection is drainage piping serving fixtures which have flood level rims located below the elevation of the nearby upstream manhole. Invert of the public sewer serving such drainage piping shall be protected from backflow of sewage by installing an approved type backwater valve fixture installed above the such elevation shall not discharge through the backwater valve. So in the past lesson, we have talked about the valve and backwater valve are mainly used in this kind of system. So on normal conditions, the backwater valve will lay flat so that the water will flow naturally from the buildings. But when the rain is really heavy, overflooding of sewers are possible. So the backwater valve is being raised by the force of water from the main sewer and blocks the water that is supposedly to come into your home. So next is the drainage piping serving fixtures located below the crown level of the main sewer shall discharge into an approved watertight sump or receiving tank. The sewage or other liquid wastes shall then be lifted and discharged into the building drain or building sewer approved by approved ejector pump or other equally efficient mechanical device. So when your fixture is just above the main sewer, it is not accepted to deploy water immediately into the main sewer, but instead, you need to store it first in a receiving tank, which is also planned by a master planner um, before discharging it into the main sewer by an ejector. So next is the minimum size of any pump discharged or any discharge pipe from a sump. Excuse. Having a water closet connected thereto shall not be less than 50.8 millimeters in diameter. Next, um, backwater valves, gate valves, motors, compressors, air tanks, and other mechanical devices required by this section shall be located where they will be accessible for inspection and repair at all times, and when not exposed, shall be enclosed in a watertight masonry pit fitted with an adequately sized removable cover. So again, because our plumbing system is located under the soil, it is hard work when we'll open our soil and fix it. So but instead we designate a certain location where all of these devices are easy to access to avoid worst problems. And next, the drainage and venting systems in connection with fixtures, sumps, receiving tanks, and mechanical waste lifting devices shall be installed under the same requirements as provided in this code for gravity system. So another one is sumps and receiving tanks shall be watertight and shall be constructed of concrete, metal, and other approved materials. If constructed of poured concrete, the walls and bottom shall be adequately reinforced and designed according to recognize acceptable standards. So metal sumps or tanks shall be of such thickness to serve their intended purpose and shall be properly coated internally and externally to resist corrosion. So yes, aside from just constructing a receiving tank, it should be sealed properly because we do not want our waste showing in front of us and exposed thing inside of it because it may be dangerous to us and we do not want to mix it with the environment outside of it. So next is um, all such sumps and receiving tanks shall be automatically discharged and when rated as public use occupancy shall be provided with dual pumps or ejectors arranged to the function independently in case of overload or mechanical failure. The invert of the lowest inlet to the tank shall have a minimum distance of 51 millimeters above the high water or starting level of the pumping operation. So if your fixture, or for example, is a public urinal, um, this place is used by many people. So immediate release of wastes is required as a sanitary protocol. And it is required to have a dual pump in case when the main pump is not working. Next is sumps and receiving tanks shall be provided with substantial covers having a bolt and gasket type manhole or equivalent opening to permit access for inspections, repairs, and cleaning. So the top shall be provided with a vent pipe which shall extend separately to the roof or when permitted may be combined with other vent pipes. Next is air tank shall be proportioned to be of equal cubical capacity to the ejector connected therewith, where there shall be maintained an air pressure of not less than 3 kilograms for each meter of height and sewage is raised. No water operated ejectors shall be permitted. Then next, when the subsoil drainage system is installed, it shall be initially discharged into an approved receiving tank and discharged in a manner satisfactory to the administrative authority. So lastly is the section 710 is the suds relief. So the suds is the foams coming from our bathroom. Example for it is the soap from the kitchen. That's all. And this section, it tackles that the fixture outlets shall not be connected to the horizontal excreta drainage piping system within 2.4 meter of any vertical to horizontal change of direction of a stack containing suds producing fixtures, bathtubs, laundries, washing machine, sand pipes, kitchen sinks, and dishwashers shall be considered suds producing fixtures. But there are also an exceptions. If you are in a single family residence, so that's okay. And another one is if the stacks receiving the discharge from less than 3 stories. I'm sorry, that is a 3 stories of plumbing fixtures. So that's it.